So today we're at the Bourne Sale Room with John. John, what are we looking at today?
We're looking at two wooden items today.
Okay, why?
Why? Because when people think of wood, they invariably think of furniture, tables, chairs, etc. And there's so much more that is made of wood that is good quality. And I wanted to show you two items today that are from the 19th century. And the 19th century comes in for a lot of stick because it's not purist to a lot of people. And I just wanted to show people today you get some wonderful things made in the 19th century, the Victorian era particularly.
Tell me a bit about the clock we're looking at then.
The clock is probably from the third quarter of the 19th century and almost certainly German. We think it could be influenced by somebody called Johann Beha, who was primarily famed for the development of the cuckoo clock.
Right, okay.
So it's a wonderful clock, beautifully carved. That's the main thing about it, and it's Gothic in influence from top to bottom, which is exciting to collectors.
So it would be hand carving, and I suppose the more carving, the more detail, the more work that's got into it, you would think that would improve the value, wouldn't you?
Yes, yeah. I mean, basically, you're looking with a clock at two main things. Is the case beautiful, and is the movement good? And in this case, yes, the movement is very nice. It's a good clock movement, but the case is just stunning. So if you never wound the clock up, who cares? It's beautiful to look at.
You mentioned quite ornate. It looks quite churchy to me when you look at the top of it.
Yes, well that's what the Gothic thing is. It's the influence of the Gothic period. So we're going back to the medieval Renaissance period and the influence there of Northern Europe with these very Gothic details in both the columns there, in the general carving. Has a good strong Gothic look, and it ties in with architecture of the period. So if you look to London, Houses of Parliament, Augustus Pugin, that is the epitome of Victorian Gothic. This would sit very nicely in one of those chambers there.
Now, away from the clock, we've got something of interest here. Let me just open the lid of this one. What are we looking at?
Well, this is, again, from the 19th century. This is Coromandel, and this is a tea caddy. It's a slightly earlier period. I'm just going to put the clock down for a second.
Yes, do.
Tea caddy. It's what we call a sarcophagus form tea caddy. So it's very typical of the Regency period. So it's just pre-Victorian, towards the end of the reign of George III into George IV. So late first quarter of the 19th century. It's made of a lovely exotic wood called Coromandel. It's a very strong hard wood.
Never heard of Coromandel.
Well, yes, there are many exotic woods that were used and played with, as it were, in the 18th and 19th century, and this is just one of them, which was very, very desirable at that time. It's got the slight look of rosewood about it, but it's better still.
Right.
So it's rarer. Lovely quality. You've got these lovely lion's head and ring handles there, and when you open it up, you've got a lovely fitted interior with the two caskets for holding the tea, and then in the middle you've got a glass mixing bowl to create whatever blend you wanted of that tea for the moment.
Two very different items made of wood. If you'd like to know a bit more about them, go onto the website goldingyoung.com.